There is no need to emphasize the importance of planning. Suffice it to say that planning is vital to success. Organizations that plan their information systems tend to achieve better results than organizations that do not. Yet studies reveal that many organizations either do not plan or do it unsystematically. ICT design and planning provides a framework and approach for strategic and technical design and planning of ICT infrastructures. It includes the necessary combination of business and overall IS strategy with technical design and architecture. The implication of the maintenance workload upon the information strategy plan for an organization is a subject that deserves special attention. The organization structure needs flexibility to support the maintenance of existing systems concurrently with the implementation of new technology. For an organization's information technology, infrastructure management (IM) is the management of essential operations components such as policies, processes, equipment, data, human resources, and external contacts. For overall effectiveness, infrastructure management is sometimes divided into categories of systems management, network management, and storage management. Infrastructure management products are available for a number of vendors including Hewlett-Packard, IBM, and Microsoft. Among other purposes, infrastructure management seeks to reduce duplication of effort, ensures adherence to standards, enhances the flow of information throughout an information system, provide adaptability necessary for changeable environment, ensures interoperability among organizational and external entities, and maintain effective change management policies and practices. Although all business activities depend upon the infrastructure, planning and projects to ensure its effective management are typically undervalued to the determinant of the organization. In today's scenarios, infrastructure management are further classified as ICT infrastructure management. Further, this can be further studied for remote IM. ICT infrastructure management processes recommend best practices for requirement analysis, planning, design, deployment, and ongoing operations management, and technical support of an ICT infrastructure. The infrastructure management processes describe processes like ICT design and planning, ICT deployment, ICT operations, and ICT technical support. These processes directly relate to the ICT requirement and software that is involved in providing ICT services to customers. The business perspective is the name given to the collection of best practices that is suggested to address some of the issues often encountered in understanding and improving IT service provisions. As a part of the entire business requirement for high IS quality management, these issues include business continuity management, surviving change, transformation of business practice, partnership and outsourcing, and so on. After the systems implementation phase, the maintenance phase takes over. Systems maintenance is the ongoing maintenance of a system after it has been placed into operations. When developing information strategy plan, organizations cannot afford to neglect the fact that systems maintenance is the longest and costliest phase of the system life cycle. The implication of the maintenance workload upon the information strategy plans for an organization is a subject that deserves special attention. The organization structure needs flexibility to support the maintenance of existing systems concurrently with implementation of new technology. It is important to consider the evaluation and monitoring of a system for needed maintenance and consequently to lower or contain maintenance costs. Systems maintenance can be categorized into 4 groups. Each of these 4 categories can affect an organization's information strategy plan in different ways. Number 1. Corrective maintenance. Regardless of how well designed, developed, and tested a system or application may be, errors will inevitably occur. This type of maintenance deals with fixing or correcting problems with the system. This usually refers to problems that were not identified during the implementation phase. An example of remedial maintenance is the lack of user-required feature or the improper functionality of it. Number 2. Customized maintenance. This type of maintenance refers to the creation of new features or adapting existing ones as required by changes in the organization or by the users. Example, changes on the organization's tax codes or internal regulations. Number 3. Enhancement maintenance. It deals with enhancing or improving the performance of the system, either by adding new features or by changing existing ones. An example of this type of maintenance is the conversion of text-based systems to GUI. Number 4. Preventive maintenance. This type of maintenance may be one of the most cost-effective since it is performed timely and properly. It can avoid major problems with the system. An example of this maintenance is the correction for the year 2000. The purpose is to provide a broad overview of the concept of change management. It was written primarily for people who are coming to grips with change management problem for the first time, and for more experienced people who wish to reflect upon their experience in a structured way. Do you know what change management is? In thinking about what is meant by change management, at least 4 basic definitions come to mind. Namely, it being a task managing change, it being an area of professional practice, it being a body of knowledge, and it being a control mechanism. Now let us understand about incident handling. Incident handling is a generalized term that refers to the response by a person or organization to an attack. An organized and careful reaction to an incident can mean the difference between complete recovery and total disaster. One should follow a logical approach to handling 2 common forms of attack: virus outbreak and system compromise. The sequence of steps that should be followed in the case of all types of attack involve preparation, identification of attack, containment of attack, and recovery and analysis. Preparation involves comprehensively addressing the issues of security and includes methods to prevent attack as well as how to respond to successful one. Then one has to make identification of attack. While preparation is vital for minimizing the effect of an attack, the first post-attack step in incident handling is the identification of an incident. Identification of an incident becomes more difficult as complexity of the attack grows. Once an attack has been identified, steps must be taken to minimize the effect of the attack. Containment allows the user or administrator to protect other systems and networks from the attack and limit damage. The response phase details the methods used to stop the attack of virus outbreak. Once the attack has been contained, the final phases are recovery and analysis. The recovery phase allows the user to assess what damages has been incurred, what information has been lost, and what post-attack status of the system is. Once the user can be assured that the attack has been contained, it is helpful to conduct an analysis of the attack. Why did it happen? Was it handled promptly and properly? Could it have been handled better? The analysis phase allows the user and administrators to determine the reason the attack succeeded and the best course of action to protect against future attacks. Disaster recovery is the process, policies, and procedures related to preparing for recovery or continuation of technology infrastructure critical to an organization after a natural or human-induced disaster. Disaster recovery planning is a subset of a larger process known as business continuity planning and should include planning for resumption of application, data, hardware, communication such as networking, and other IT infrastructure. A business continuity plan or BCP includes planning for non-IT related aspects such as key personnel, facilities, crisis communication, and reputation protection, and should refer to the disaster recovery plan or DRP for IT related infrastructure recovery. It is estimated that most large companies spend 2% and 4% of their IT budget on disaster recovery planning with the aim of avoiding larger losses in the event that business cannot continue to function due to loss of IT infrastructure and data. Disaster can be classified into 2 broad categories, namely natural disaster and man-made disaster. Preventing a natural disaster is very difficult, but it is possible to take precautions to avoid losses. These disasters include flood, fire, earthquake, hurricane, smog, etc. Man-made disasters are major reasons for failure. Human error and intervention may be intentional or unintentional, which can cause massive failures such as loss of communication and utility. These disasters include accidents, walkout, sabotage, burglary, virus, intrusion, etc. Security holes are the vulnerabilities in computing hardware or software. It provides indirect invitation to malicious brains to work on it and exploit it. It is achieved through flaws in network software which allows unintended control within the network. Components of networks such as PCs and routers hold these holes through their operating systems. Technical details of any system should not be made public abundantly unless required. Once such holes are discovered, information about it should be immediately passed to security professionals responsible for it. General steps to follow while creating BCP or DRP include: identify the scope and boundaries of business continuity plan. First step enables us to define scope of BCP. It provides an idea for limitation and boundaries of plan. It also includes audit and risk analysis reports for institutions' assets. Conduct a business impact analysis. Business impact analysis is study and assessment of financial losses to institutions resulting from destructive events as unavailability of important business services. Sell the concept of BCP to upper management and obtain organizational and financial commitment. Convincing senior management to approve BCP DRP is key task. It is very important for security professionals to get approval for plan from upper management to bring it to effect. Each department will need to understand its role in plan and support to maintain it. In case of disaster, each department has to be prepared for the action. To recover and to protect the critical systems, each department has to understand the plan and follow it accordingly. It is also important to maintain and help in creation of plan for each individual department. The BCP project team must implement the plan. After approval from upper management, plan should be maintained and implemented. Implementation team should follow the guidelines, procedures in plan. NIST toolset can be used for doing BCP. National Institute of Standards and Technologies has published tools which can help in creating BCPs. Control measurements are steps or mechanisms that can reduce or eliminate computer security threats. Different types of measures can be included in BCP or DRP. Type of measures include preventive measures, which are control aimed at preventing an event from occurring. Detective measures, which are controls aimed at detecting or discovering unwanted events. And corrective measures, which are controls aimed at correcting or resorting the system after disaster or event. These controls should always be documented and tested regularly. Prior to selecting a disaster recovery strategy, a disaster recovery planner should refer to their organization's business continuity plan, which should indicate the key metrics of recovery point objective or RPO and recovery time objective or RTO for various business processes. The metrics specified for business processes must then be mapped to the underlying IT systems and infrastructure that support these processes. Once the RTO and RPO metrics have been mapped to IT infrastructure, the DR planner can determine the most suitable recovery strategy for each system. An important note here, however, is that the business ultimately sets the IT budget, and therefore the RTO and RPO metrics needs to fit with the budget available. While most business unit heads would like zero data loss and zero time loss, the cost associated with that level of protection may make the desired high availability solution impractical. The most common strategies for data protection are backups made to tape and sent off-site at regular intervals, preferably daily. Backups made to disk on-site and automatically copied to off-site disk, or made directly to off-site disk. Replication of data to an off-site location, which overcomes the need to restore the data. This generally makes usage of storage area network or SAN technology. High availability systems which keep both the data and system replicated off-site, enabling continuous access to systems and data.